to begin with prayer.
There was a spot where it's built there.
It's okay.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for all the blessings that we have received, especially those here at St. George's for over 230 years. Please help and guide us as we make our individual commitments of time, talent, and treasure in order to continue to do your will. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Janet. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a brief overview of what you can expect in our time together this afternoon. Thank you all for making the time to be with us. We think that this is really important for the life of our church, and it means a lot that you have prioritized it as well. So we are going to review the 4 priorities of St. George's Ministry at this time, and a little review of how we got to those 4 priorities, because that is important. Then we are going to share with you some of the strategies that we have been implementing around those 4 priorities. We're going to also share with you some of our hopes and dreams around those priorities going forward. We are going to share with you the participation that we're inviting you to, and some prayerful points of consideration for you in time, talent, and treasure. And then we'll have an opportunity for question and answer, but as I said, we will turn off the camera at that time so that you won't be on video for the question period. Okay, so just reviewing our 4 priorities, it's important to remind you or share with you how we got to these 4 priorities. So in 2022, we were coming out of a couple of very disruptive years. Those would be the COVID years. We were coming out of numerous lockdowns that prevented us from being in person for worship and for fellowship. And we began a process of consultation, discernment, conversation with leaders across our community, and then with the congregation as a whole. And what bubbled up from that consultation and conversation were 4 ministry areas that represented who St. George's has been and who we believe St. George's is called to be. So these 4 areas represent both what has the gifts that have been passed along to us down across the generations that have been a consistent part of our identity at St. George's, but also the areas in which we feel called to grow and expand. So last year at Joyful Giving, we were able to share those 4 priorities with you, and I'm really happy that this year we can share with you what steps we have been taking around those 4 priorities. So the first priority, just to review, is around community, friendship, and fellowship. And I think it's probably no surprise that this emerged as one of our 4 priorities coming out of COVID, because I think that we were able to recognize that being able to have those spaces for gathering as friends and to build community is something that we never want to take for granted. The second priority is outreach. And again, this is building on a long tradition of St. George's being a force for good in the center of our city and being recognized as a leader in how we care for the marginalized in our community. The third priority is youth, children, and families. We understand that our faith is to be generative. That means that it is our responsibility, our sacred responsibility, to pass our faith along to the next generation. And so we prioritize youth, families, and children at St. George's. And the fourth priority is music. And this isn't just sort of an added element of our 10 o'clock worship service. This is a pillar that is deeply connected to the other three priorities and that allows us to deepen in faith in some really profound ways. So on that note, I am going to turn things over to Brad, our extremely talented director of music, and he can share much better than I ever could just how and why that priority is so essential for us here at St. George's.
Hello everyone, nice to be here. It's no doubt that good things are happening here. A little closer? It's no doubt that good things are happening here at St. George's. Good things for our community, for our congregation, and all of which are to the glory of God. Music is one of those very good things. It's a pillar of this place, one of several strong, deep pillars. Our music program is considered to be one of the flagship programs of the diocese. This is a testament to many hands at work, to the collaborative spirit within these walls of St. George's. It takes a village to make a church music program thrive. And when thriving, a church music program does far more than simply offer music on a Sunday morning. Since the end of COVID, our choir has grown to the healthy size of about 25 per week, give or take. And when the forces are required to be larger, we have a strong community of what I like to call friends, because that's what they are, to call on. Singers and musicians from across our musical community here in Niagara, like Avanti Chamber Singers, Chorus Niagara, and the Niagara Symphony. By collaboration, we continue to build and strengthen our relationships with these organizations, resulting in a close-knit community citywide. The choir's yearly season is ever growing. At St. George's, we offer more performances and services for our community because it's important here for us and for our worship experience. Along with the weekly choral Eucharists, the choir will perform the Foyer Requiem with strings for Remembrance Sunday on the 10th of November. They will lead the congregation through a beloved lessons and carol service, as we always do, this year on December 15th at 4 p.m. There will be 3 Christmas Eve services. Holy Week will be filled with musical services, as always, ending with a triumphant Easter Sunday service with brass and timpani. And in the spring, we will collaborate with the choir of Christ Church Cathedral for an evensong performance, both here and there. Last year, we had the same experience with St. John's Alora, which was wonderful for all who were involved. And then finally, not the least of which, will be our Shine All Year Light, this time part 2, the much beloved fundraiser that raised over $4,000 last year for our music program. That will be returning in full spirit with bells on. This year, we will be incorporating a small symphony to join us for the second half, where we will be performing a piece called Illuminare, which is awe-inspiring, hopeful, and resonant. It'll be perfect for our community. The Little Dragons Choir was launched this fall, now seeing numbers of about 13 a week. Yeah, it's exciting. This is a free program for children aged 5 to 12 and offer our young people in St. Catharines a chance to have fun with others, to sing with professionals and learn from them, and to be welcomed and kept safe in our space. A place where all are welcome. The Little Dragons is preparing to sing at the 4 p.m. Christmas Eve service for their very first performance, and the numbers are climbing weekly for that group. Advent Cafe has been remodeled, welcoming a different and unique theme each month. We wanted to prioritize Advent Cafe as something that was different to Sunday mornings, to appeal perhaps to a different community or to a different group. And with more intention and care, we have an exciting array of themes planned. Last month was Billy Joel Night, where we tackled the ups and downs of life through music. Next month, we are welcoming back the band Ambush, led by our very own Max Schaeffer and his band, with the theme of the power of music. And November is Anne Boleyn night, so clearly we have some variety going on here. Lots to look forward to and lots ahead. Week after week, we who are a part of the music program here hear often of how our music positively affects the people that experience it. How the music is often a highlight of our services, and how it transports and inspires. So yes, perhaps this thriving music program does in fact offer music on a Sunday morning, but it does far more than that. It also improves on all of the pillars of our Joyful Giving campaign. Community building, outreach, and youth and children. A thriving music program brings light to every corner of this place. Your support to this ministry reaches far beyond the robes and the organ. It touches lives, it builds strong connections, supports young people, and feeds the soul of this church. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm here to speak about the children and youth. I know you're super surprised about that, but here I am. So when COVID hit, everything changed for all of us, everything here at St. George's. And when we came back, the children just weren't really here. We would have maybe one here or there. Numbers in the back Sunday school room on a Sunday morning was about 0 to 3 on average for quite a bit. We are now ranging from 9 to 16. So we are very, very happy about this. I also wanted to mention too that before COVID had hit, we had a great group of kids that were so tight with each other. They had their own friendships, they were super bonded. So one of my biggest fears was that we weren't going to get that back. But let me tell you, the group we have now, I would say, is even more bonded. It's just amazing. We brought back VBS this year. We had a very successful VBS. We had 15 children attend, 4 youth volunteer, and 8 of those children had never stepped foot in St. George's before. Also, to add success to our VBS, 3 of those children who never came here before are now part of our Little Dragons program. Very exciting. We also brought back communion classes and confirmation classes this year. We had 3 young ones do some learning on communion and then receive. We also have 3 youth that attended their confirmation classes and will be confirmed this coming Sunday. Please keep them in your thoughts and prayers. We also, after COVID, took some time but then started to bring back children's liturgy, so we're working with that again. And we actually have one this coming Sunday. We try to find some unique and different ways. We're trying to build some new ideas. And one thing that we did last year that was different was we had the children part of the Advent services with lighting a candle at the start of the service each week. We do also encourage, I also encourage any feedback, any comments, any kind of ideas you have in ways to bring these kids forward in our service and different ideas you may have. I love to hear new perspective. Also, too, with being such a priority to rebuild our children and youth programs, we kind of took a look at some little things that we can change and do. Obviously, bringing back VBS, bringing back confirmation, communion, etc., all helps. However, we thought of when we have a family come in to be baptized, we have myself, a little more involved in the prep, getting to know the family, and the follow-up after. Also, too, our lovely clergy team here, they allow me, because I said, hey, I want one-on-one time with you guys. So I get a meeting a month with them to just go over the children and youth programming, to have their support, their ideas, and we just kind of keep each other in the loop. Little Dragons Children's Choir, I'm working with Brad on that, we're a team, and when he says learning from professionals, I just think I am not in any way musically inclined, but I'm there to support him and help him with the other kinds of games. So So we are very excited about that new adventure. As I had said, trying to find different ways to get our youth and children involved. One other way is Max Shafrick is a good example, as he wasn't attending and he came out for Advent Cafe to play, and now we see him on some Sunday mornings. As you all know, our basketball nets have been a really big deal here at St. George's. Not to mention our new dragon that lives in the building. He's not a dinosaur, he is a dragon. These basketball nets have created just such a spirit for the youth, as well as our adults, and definitely Reverend Tom over here. So we have so much fun, but the basketball nets not only have provided exercise, fun, and spirit for our people, it has provided a nice place for others to come into our church. We have other youth, other families that have come in. They're part of the teams. They've never been here before, or they have family that attend. And the other success to that is now some of our youth are connected with those youth by themselves without even me involved. So it's just been such a positive piece. Another thing to mention just quickly is that one of our parishioners said to me at the last game, you know, it's really nice to come and do something here that's so fun and not have to do any work. And I thought, you know, I never thought of that. That's a really, really good perspective. We are continuing on with our youth nights after COVID. It was sad to plan a youth night because I'd be lucky to get one. But now we had a youth group hike on Saturday, and we had 9 youth, so it's very, very exciting. Family group is back. We run that once a month, and we are connecting with some different families trying to rebuild that program, and it's going well as well. I don't know how many we had last month. Do you remember the number? We had about 10 last month, so that's really, really good. So basically, guys, I want to say this. We're doing what we can to get the children and youth in here. They definitely see the support from you guys. Coming out to the basketball game, smiling at them in the hall, any little piece just makes them feel at home here. And I also want to say, too, I want to leave on a note, a quote from one of our very own youth. He said, Tanya, I've attended many churches. I've been part of many churches. The big, powerful ones, some really small ones, and he's like, this is my favorite place. And I said, well, why is this your favorite place? He says, because it's like a family. So it's just a good reminder that numbers are important, but each and every life that we touch is what really matters. Thank you.
I got to talk about the community engagement. I promise we won't keep you here past dinner. We are so very blessed with this massive building with such a variety of spaces that can be used in so many diverse ways. In a time when so many church buildings sit empty most of the time, that's not a concern around here. Actually, if you want the space, you better make sure you book it with the office or you're not getting it. Now, something maybe some of you didn't know, but quilting, crocheting, and other crafts are actually a group activity. And if you like doing crafts, please come out to Crafty Corners on Tuesday afternoon or morning into the afternoon. It's a lot of fun, and you can do whatever your heart desires. We also have groups that meet here monthly with guest speakers or other special themes, like Bishop Beatty Group for the women, the BAC for the men, as well as the KEG, which is Knowledge Enrichment Group. There are family and youth groups, and perhaps you're looking for people to golf or play bridge with, or even take day trips to plays, concerts, or museums. We have you covered. If you like to bake, perhaps you'd like to consider being part of the coffee hour team. Now, as somebody who doesn't bake, I can tell you it's totally acceptable to bring store-bought. But we all love coffee hour, but we do need more people on teams, and of course, many hands make light work. There's also our very beloved Soup Sundays, and they've got a new twist with some different themes to some of them. In November, you can come out, have soup, and do more Christmas shopping. In December, after filling up on soup, you can enjoy an afternoon of singing Christmas carols and sipping hot apple cider and more sweet treats. And of course, we're always looking for volunteers for bringing soup, chili, bread, and sweet treats. Don't think because you volunteer once, you're committed for life. Just reach out, let us know, and we just go month by month. Now, when you're filling out your time and talent sheet, I want to assure you that if you select something that maybe you don't know much about, it's just to get information, and it's a great time to explore. It does not mean that you are committed to this group forever. So feel free to check off different things. And if down the road you decide, maybe I would like more information on something, feel free to reach out to the group or to the office and they will get you more information. You don't have to wait for the time and talent sheets to come out. Another great thing about all of these many activities that happen here is that we invite you to bring a neighbor, friend, family member, even coworker, to come with you. And you can assure them that they're welcome to come without fear of being pressured into anything or having to commit to things. Perhaps your neighbor goes to a different church and like so many others, they don't have nearly the amount of activities we do. They can still keep their home church and come visit with us. We are so thankful to be on the other side of COVID, and probably that was the hardest thing with COVID, is not being able to gather. So please keep in mind all these activities and, come out to them, but also if you can offer them a little support with going on a team or something like that, that's also very important to keep these groups going. Thank you.
I'm here to talk about outreach. There is a famous quote from a former Archbishop of Canterbury who once said, "The church exists primarily for the sake of those who are still outside it." And it's become a very famous quote because it says something very important about what the church is, what the church's mission is, and what the purpose of the church is. The purpose of the church is, in part, to bear the love of God to others in service and to bring others to know the love of God in Jesus Christ. In our consultations, which led to the development of these 4 points, it quickly became apparent that living out this maxim is very important to this congregation. Now, the work of outreach in this parish requires a daily renewal of time, talent, and treasure in all the work we do in the breakfast program, which happens every day, the community dinners, which happen once a month, the meal bag program, and so many other things. And so there's a lot of work that involves continuing on with what we've been doing, but there's also other work that's going on. We've been intentionally attempting to strengthen what we've been doing to keep it sustainable now and for the long term, but also to creatively respond to the new ways that God is calling us to serve our community, especially those members of it who are at its margins. Now, you know about the breakfast program, which is a long-time cornerstone of our parish's mission and self-identity. You might even know that in 2023, it served 31,340 guests. But we've been working from this strength. We've intentionally been working from this strength and building, but also at the same time building on what we're already doing. Amongst the leaders of the program, the leaders of this parish, there is an understanding that those who are poor and on the margins of society have both spiritual as well as material needs. So there's been a concerted attempt over the last year to address the spiritual hunger that exists in the breakfast room. One thing we've been doing is almost every Sunday, Martha, Tom, and myself, one of us, goes down to the breakfast program for the morning and acts as a clergy presence. We're a pastoral presence once a week on a Sunday for the people for our guests. We join in the work of welcoming and creating a positive environment in the Swan. And moreover, we're part of the general work of the breakfast program, which is at its root treating people as human. We listen to their concerns, we talk about issues of religion and meaning that are before them. It's an attempt at friendliness and connection across quite a wide social chasm. As clergy, we're called to be the presence of Christ in the church for others, and this is what we have the opportunity to do for our breakfast guests if they want it. Another new initiative from the past year that's continuing on to the future is having a monthly breakfast program service, a short, informal service one Sunday a month at 7:10 a.m. that gives those who come to the breakfast program an opportunity to worship and pray together. The service consists of music, prayer, a scripture reading, and a short sermon. And it attracts a crowd of between, usually around 10 to 20 people. In addition to the breakfast program, we have a long tradition of raising money for the wider community and the wider world. And this has been going on for a while, and it's continuing in the next year. There is the Primates World Relief and Development Fund Wild Ride. There's the Indigenous Water Partnership, which is focused on Advent. And early in the new year is the coldest night of the year, supporting Start Me Up. These are not just opportunities to raise money for worthy causes, but they're also opportunities to build fellowship and community. They're a way of connecting the mind and the spirit of those who participate and those who donate to the needs of people who are often quite far away. People donate generously to these initiatives, but there's also a lot of effort and initiative that's taken behind the scenes by volunteers organizing the campaign. All of this outreach work contributes to St. George's image in the community, as we're known as, because we're so established doing this work, we're known and recognized as a leader in the community, and as such, we're invited into conversations in the wider community about social justice and community organizing. We're asked to give our opinion on issues before City Council and its committees. We were invited when a group of people were interested in starting discussions about basic income. They approached the church about participating, and now a layperson is involved in that work and contributes to it. And another issue was when people wanted to bring a movement that seeks to organize communities when major developments and other initiatives take place. They wanted to bring that to Niagara. This group of people approached the church and approached Martha for help and the church was able to give them help setting up their organization, providing institutional support, and now provides meeting services for the Niagara Community Benefits Network. And Reverend Martha sits on the board and is a major animating force as NCBN helps the Facer community organize to advocate for themselves as the Skyway Twinning project proceeds. This is a snapshot of how our work of outreach continues to be strengthened. We're continuing in our tradition of faithful service to the world, and we're also listening to the new demands that faithfulness to the gospel requires of us. This is what you support when you donate to the breakfast program, community dinner, as well as Wild Ride, Indigenous Water Partnership, and Coldest Night of the Year. But it's also the work that you support when you give to St. George's General Fund as well. Thank you.
I think what I love most about these 4 priorities is how interwoven they so clearly are, and I'm sure that you could hear that across all 4 presentations. You can hear how music and our children and youth programs and our outreach ministries all build up friendship and fellowship. You can hear how our youth and family ministries are connected to the music ministries. You can hear how our friendship ministries are connected to outreach. The Little Dragons is a really great case in point. We're so thrilled about these initial numbers, and we also realize that that discernment is ongoing about how we use music as a force for good in young people's lives, particularly in this community. So we have a great team of people who are working with us in an ongoing way about how we extend that program outward. Many of you have heard me say so many times that my parents were both music teachers. I saw with a front row seat just how much music can be a force for health and well-being in young people's lives. And so, that's a really exciting growing edge for us. St. George's is blessed in so many incredible ways, and the team that you heard from this afternoon is by no means the entire team of animating forces here at St. George's across our staff and across our ministry leadership. We have just so many blessings. But I do want to call out a couple of the major factors in being able to rebuild from COVID and to be able to grow in some new areas at St. George's. I want to give a special shout out to Tanya and Brad because their programs were basically decimated by COVID. And what we have seen them do, as they have said, with the support of lots and lots of people, is be able to rebuild those programs in spectacular fashion. I also want to note that MJ has been engaged in a discernment process toward diaconal ministry, and just how much her in that process has been, again, one of those animating forces here at St. George's, taking on new initiatives and imagining new connections with the community around us. Having the support of an assistant curate and a special gift that was made towards St. George's that has allowed us to have an assistant curate, to have Mike here over the past, it's 2.5 years?
Yeah.
2.5 years. Again, just being such a strong leader and a visionary leader and being able to champion some new directions and new ministries. And then the co-rector model that we started almost a year ago, it's coming up to the 1-year anniversary, that again just amplifies the capacity of our staff team to be able to engage some creative new ministries, I think particularly around how we engage with the community around us, how we welcome new people, how we do creative things online and with social media, and just a bunch of those different facets of ministry in the 21st century. So we are truly blessed here, and I hope that you're getting a sense of just how exciting and cohesive this ministry vision is here at St. George's.
Thank you, Martha. Hello, everyone. And hello to everyone who will be praying with us online. So the next section is what we need from you. So we are all in the school of Jesus. And the school of Jesus equals the school of giving. That is that our whole lives are turned over to God to be cultivated for generosity. We are all lifelong learners, and we learn from the Master. Our textbook is the Bible. And in the Bible, we learn all about what it means to be generous people. In that school of Jesus, we are all disciples, a word that does mean students or learners. So we are all, therefore, a community of people learning to follow Jesus. The Bible talks about giving that is joyful, and that is what we need from our whole community. And that's not difficult. with the morale being as high as it is, as we hear everything that is touching lives of God's people in our community, the Bible talks about being a cheerful giver, not giving that's done under guilt or compulsion, a giving that lifts the heart and soul because it engages joy. Jesus says, I have come that they might have life and have it abundantly. And there is indeed abundant life at St. George's. So what is joyful giving? It is proportional. To consider your household income and to sit down with the materials, like Martha and I will as your rectors in this parish, and to pray about what we can all do to touch our whole community in this coming year. To determine by prayer what you can give with joy for the sake of others. Joyful giving is generous. This builds again on the textbook in our master class of making sure that we are giving our lives over to God for generosity to be cultivated in us in all kinds of ways. Everything we have comes from God. As we sang in our Thanksgiving service, all good gifts around us are sent from heaven above. Joyful giving is faithful, pre-authorized giving, e-transfers, online giving, the use of a tap machine at special events that we will have. All make it easy to be faithful to the financial gift that you've prayed about and made. Joyful giving is joyful. There's an old expression about giving until it hurts. That's not what we are about in our community. Give until it feels good, until it engages your joy. Give at different times. In the life of our community, there are all kinds of opportunities for joy to well up in our hearts and to give more. At the Shine All Your Light concert, at the basketball game when the youth are mopping the floor with the adults, and you feel so badly for the adults who are trying so hard, but you are so joyful because you see the smiles on the faces of the youth. That is a time to boost these events as well. That is what joyful giving can do. And it can add to the events in the life of our community and give them that joyful boost from the gratitude that is within you. So joyful giving is proportional, generous, faithful, and joyful. What does it include? It includes legacy, looking at gifts that are often deferred, ways to touch the life of the community in years to come. From living in this school of Jesus and having generosity cultivated in us. You can look at some of the major gifts our parish has had over the years. The gift of being able to dream and act generously and creatively as a community because of these legacy gifts. Legacy can be gifts of shares, gifts of a piece of investments, or a percentage on the sale of a home to bless the future of St. George's. And how do you engage legacy? You make an appointment with myself or Martha, and we talk about engaging that joy in you. Some of the most incredible conversations that I've had, and I know you've had over the years, Martha, in parishes, have been when parishioners ask to meet with us for that kind of conversation and say, I have this idea that starts with that. And this is, how do you feel about it? And we say, this is wonderful. Let's talk about this. Joyful giving also includes something like the Memorial Restoration Fund, for example. You had a letter from your rectors all through September that was included in the Saints Connection that talked about the restoration work from the water damage that is there that needs to be mitigated. And so that is one area where there could be and needs to be joyful giving. Special gifts are another area. And these are places where it's so easy to see the joy that's engaged in us. Special gifts speak of things like the basketball nets that are downstairs, to name one thing, and how the joy from that is just contagious. I was sharing the other day in these meetings that, along with the basketball community, a parishioner said to me recently, Tom, when you and Martha are able to get those games with the adults and the youth in that gym, I will cover the referees every single time, no matter how many times you gather them. That is a significant and special gift that comes from joy. you should have seen the smile to be able to offer a gift like that. So, as you look around our community and hear about everything that is going on, what is emerging in your prayers? And again, with special gifts, you can make an appointment with myself or Martha to talk about that, to engage that joy in you, and to say, I have this idea that's been welling up. I'd like to talk to you about it. Joyful giving, the bigger picture, time and talent. This touches on everything. How we share so much of our time sacrificially here. And as I look around the room, that is a particularly moving thing to do, because we give so sacrificially to our community at St. George's. Prayer, everything that all of us have said here this afternoon, absolutely and critically connects to prayer. Prayer is our conversation with God that is an ongoing